There are things that happen behind the scenes in the NFL that seem like a bizarre test of our sanity, and what's happening now within the Dallas Cowboys is living proof that the coaching staff is playing with fire. While you're there, calmly waiting for the regular season to begin, a real Cold War has been declared on the depth chart, and the structures of the star in Frisco are shaking in a way no one expected. If you think the team's biggest concern was just resolving contract sagas or adjusting the main tactical scheme, you're completely wrong. There's a silent collapse unfolding right before our eyes, one of those incomprehensible market moves that seem to have been made purely to divert attention from much bigger and deeper problems in the franchise. You know that uncomfortable feeling of reliving an old nightmare, where the same talent evaluation mistakes are repeated year after year? That's it, a player who cost a fortune, sold as the great salvation to add depth to our receiving cores, is turning into the biggest recent offseason fiasco, and to make matters worse, the timing couldn't be more tragic. He had everything he needed to secure his place in the starting lineup while the spotlight was off, but he managed to complicate things on his own at the most crucial moment of practice. While fans discuss bizarre theories online about curses, and the ghost of early elimination against the Green Bay Packers still haunts our deepest thoughts, the harsh reality of training shows that the problem runs much deeper. We can no longer close our eyes and pretend everything is fine because patience has run out. The roster is cracking between the lines. Positions that were once considered safe now seem like a minefield, and the coaching staff led by Mike McCarthy seems to be walking a tightrope, making unsustainable choices. Pay close attention, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see Dallas' chances this year. The smokescreen has fallen, and what's been exposed behind the scenes of the OTAs will leave you utterly furious, or at the very least, horrified by the chronic stubbornness of this management. Hey Dallas Cowboys fan, what a pleasure to have you here on the channel for another one of those straightforward, face-to-face reviews, just like any true fan likes. I'm Renong, and if you, like me, are passionate about the Lone Star and can't stand reading generic analyses from people who don't even watch the games properly, you're in the right place. But before I open the Pandora's box and give you all the details of this mess that's happening behind the scenes, I need you to do your part in our community. Give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below answering without hesitation which player on the current roster are you simply fed up with getting opportunities and should have been cut yesterday. Seriously, give your opinion, because our goal of hitting 30,000 subscribers by the draft is still on track, and I'm counting on the strength of the Cowboys Nation to crush the competition and show who's boss on YouTube. There's no making excuses here for executives or players who earn millions just to walk on the field. Let's be frank, from fan to fan, through joy and hatred. The atmosphere in Dallas is boiling, and we know very well that the off-season is the time when champions begin to take shape, or where total disaster begins to show its first public signs. And today, my friends, the news coming from inside the training complex is anything but encouraging for those who were expecting a bed of roses. We need to have a very serious conversation about how the front office trade decisions are aging poorly, almost like a bad joke on the fans who spend their money and energy supporting the team. I feel that many times our passion is used as a shield to hide the incompetence of those who should be assembling a truly competitive roster with a Super Bowl mentality. So settle into your chair, take a deep breath, and get ready, because what comes next will require a strong stomach from each of us. To fully understand the gravity of the situation, we need to transport ourselves directly to the field of the OTAs and mandatory mini-camps in Frisco, where players should theoretically be giving their all to secure a spot on the 53-man roster. The current scenario is one of pure atmospheric pressure. Imagine the scene, the scorching Texas sun beating down on the field, coaches yelling until they lose their voices, young rookies desperately trying to understand the playbook, and veterans trying to maintain their ideal physical rhythm. The eyes of the entire press and coaching staff were completely glued to the offensive line, especially because we knew that key players like C.D. Lamb wouldn't be present at certain specific moments of the activities, opening a gigantic window of opportunity for anyone who wanted to take center stage. It was the perfect moment for any backup receiver to silence the critics, put on their training jersey, and say, "The ball will come to me, and I'll solve it." The backup quarterbacks and guest mini camp arms like Maverick MacGyver, who, let's face it, has a spectacular name worthy of an 80s action movie protagonist, but unfortunately is nothing more than a transitional training arm that's going nowhere needed reliable targets to run short and medium routes in 11 on -11 drills. There was immense expectation that physicality and raw talent could shine through amidst the tactical chaos common at this time of year. Everyone wanted to see leadership, attitude, extra dedication after the final whistle, that spirit of a player who stays on the field for 30 extra minutes catching passes in the jugs machine to show real commitment to the franchise. But what we saw in practice was an awkward silence before passes and a bizarre technical disconnect that left the offensive coordinators fuming with rage on the sidelines. Instead of evolution, what we witnessed was a frightening regression from athletes who seem to feel the weight of psychological pressure even before the season has truly begun. And this is where things get really complicated, and we need to call a spade a spade. Jonathan Mingo. Honestly, I didn't expect his situation to become so pathetic in such a short time. Let's look at the concrete facts, because there are no emotional arguments that can support a lie against numbers. When Dallas sent a 4th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers to bring this guy in, the immediate feeling of anyone who analyzes American football with their brain and not their heart was pure shock. A 4th-round pick for a player who was a complete disaster in Carolina. It seemed like an outrage, a blatant act of desperation from the front office trying to create a news story to distract the fans from the painful fact that Dak Prescott was right last season. The guy has the bizarre record of only down 6 receptions in 14 games played. Do you realize what that means? The guy has more drops recorded, more balls ridiculously thrown to the ground, than touchdowns in his career for the team. It's a very low-level, lazy, and inefficient American football game. And now, you notice, when C.D. Lamb wasn't there and Brandon Cooks needed a duo, what does Mingo do? He shows up injured, wounded, unable to practice with the starters and earn his place. It's such bad luck or lack of preparation that it drives me absolutely crazy with anger. While he watches from the sidelines with a blank expression, the golden opportunity to create chemistry with the offense evaporates into thin air in Texas. The management has already made contractual moves to extract the guaranteed money from him for the future, which shows that even they no longer trust the product they bought. The question that's on everyone's lips in the Stars corridors, and that splitting fan opinions, is very simple, and I want to see you answer it right now in the comments with all the sincerity of your fan heart. Will Jonathan Mingo make it past the final cuts and become part of Dallas' 53-man roster? Yes or no? Type Y for yes or UN for no. In my honest opinion, if he stays, it's only due to Jerry Jones' chronic stubbornness and wounded pride, as he hates publicly admitting that he threw a precious draft pick straight into the trash. But if the receiver's side is a Greek tragedy, the real bloody battle that deserves our full attention and will define the fate of the running game and pass protection is happening in two specific positions: the running back's backfield and the tight end rotation. First, pay close attention to this detail that many in the mainstream media are completely ignoring. We're sleeping soundly on Malik Davis. Everyone spends all day wasting breath and screen time talking about the new guys creating gigantic expectations around Jaden Blue or Phil Maffa, thinking they're going to revolutionize the position. But the stark truth is that Malik Davis was the de facto RB to last year, and he delivers absolutely everything the coaching staff asks for. He doesn't have elite talent that will break the league into, it's true, but he's the personal protector on special teams. He blocks like a lion in pass protection, has sure hands coming out of the backfield, and runs intelligently. If offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer could take truth serum, he'd probably say he prefers Blue's speed for the dynamic element he brings. But Malik Davis's safety net is a safe haven that conservative coaches like McCarthy love. And speaking of contested positions, what's happening at tight end 3 is enough to drive anyone crazy. Luke Schoonmaker, a second-round pick theoretically with a high ceiling, has simply stagnated. His ceiling seems completely capped, and he's now being relentlessly hunted by rookie Michael Trigg, formerly of Baylor, who has absurd receiving potential, and Brevin Sponford, who destroys by blocking at the line of scrimmage. If the fight for the third tight end spot is usually decided by who blocks better, Schoonmaker is in deep trouble because Sponford is a human wall. It's that classic moment of maximum tension in training, where a spectacular pass to an undrafted receiver leaves everyone with that feeling down their spine. Will the second-round pick be cut for an undrafted free agent? The competition is wide open, and things are going to get heated in the exhibition games. Now let's take a step back and analyze the big picture with the coldness of someone who has followed this team for years and is tired of being fooled by false spring promises. There's a faction of fans on social media who seem to be drinking spoiled Kool-Aid, predicting a magical season of 14 wins and 3 losses, with a triumphant march to the Super Bowl. Refuse to buy into this reality. This is our year nonsense. You know why. Because the wound from that humiliating elimination against the Green Bay Packers at AT&T Stadium 2 seasons ago still bleeds in my soul. That game was a collective mental collapse, a tactical disgrace in every facet of the game, from the first to the last second, proving that the problem with this franchise is deeply cultural and related to leadership within the coaching staff. We kept Mike McCarthy for another year on his contract only out of sheer inertia and cowardice on the part of management. And this story about the new defense finding its identity and shocking the world needs to be viewed with great caution. Mathematically and historically, it's almost impossible to completely overhaul and reshape an entire defensive unit, changing players and schemes, and get 100% of the answers right from the start. CeeDee Lamb defined the new scheme very well. It will be a boring, irritating defense that will try to disguise its cover 3 coverage to induce opposing quarterbacks into errors. But guess what? This type of disguised aggression also generates catastrophic communication errors in our own secondary, resulting in easy 60-yard touchdowns for the rivals. Between preseason games and joint practices against the Los Angeles Rams and New Orleans Saints, the coordinators will have to quickly figure out who has the makings of a true starter squad. The friendly matches are for finding reserves and play, and no protective shirts against the starters from other teams is where the men are separated from the boys and where the fate of our season will truly be sealed. The truth is out in the open, and now the ball is in your court, you who suffer and rejoice with me with every snap of this team. Do you think this new defensive setup, full of disguises and mysteries, will be enough to contain the potent NFC offenses and take us back to the playoffs with real chances, or are we just witnessing the last melancholy chapter of the Mike McCarthy era before a total and painful rebuild next year? And in the running back competition, who do you consider the real immediate backup this season? Type MD for Malik Davis, JB for Jaden Blue, or PM for Phil Maffa? I want to see the comments section below turn into a real arena for American football debate, because your opinion is what drives this channel and fuels us to keep holding this front office accountable tooth and nail. If you enjoyed this complete analysis, if this honest and unfiltered conversation resonated with you, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, share the video in your Dallas Cowboys WhatsApp group, and subscribe to the channel by turning on notifications. Preseason is just around the corner. The joint workouts with the Rams and Saints promise sparks, and we'll be following every millimeter of detail, every interception, every touchdown, and every behind-the-scenes controversy together here, like a true family, united by the love and suffering of this Lone Star. Stay tuned, because the next video will bring a bombshell update straight from the training camps that will shake the foundations of Texas. A huge hug to all of you. Keep cheering them on, and as always, here we go. Let's go get them, because the season promises to be amazing.